Before I move to opening statements, I want to share some recognitions and go over a few housekeeping items. My name is Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal. I'm the top Democrat on the Immigration Subcommittee and very glad to be chairing this hearing along with and in partnership with our incredible colleague, your representative in Minneapolis, Representative Ilhan Omar. I want to thank Congresswoman Omar for her tremendous leadership in Congress, for her partnership in holding this hearing, and for her staff's help in making sure that we had a set of voices testifying today that would really demonstrate the gravity of the situation here in Minneapolis, St. Paul. I also want to thank Congresswoman Betty McCollum, in whose district we sit, for her leadership and for hosting us here in St. Paul. I also want to thank the entire Minnesota delegation, Senators Amy Klobuchar and Tina Smith, and Representatives Angie Craig and Kelly Morrison for their work and their welcome to Minnesota in this very difficult time. And a huge thank you to Senate Majority Leader Erin Murphy for her leadership and for hosting us here in the Minnesota State Senate. To Minnesotans, thank you for your courage, for your bravery, for your resilience, for your compassion for each other. I hope you see the fact that 28 members of the U.S. House of Representatives have traveled from all over the country to be with you today. I hope you see that as a recognition that you are not in this alone. We've got your back, and we will do what we need to do in Congress to advocate fiercely for you. Finally, before we move to opening statements, I ask for a moment of silence to honor Renee Nicole Macklin Good, a U.S. citizen, mother of 3, wife, daughter, friend to many, who was killed by ICE agents just 9 days ago. Renee Good died because she cared about her neighbors. In the words of her wife, Becca Good, Renee was a Christian who knew that all religions teach the same essential truth. We are here to love each other, care for each other, and keep each other safe and whole. Thank you. A few more housekeeping items before we begin. While today's event is not a formal hearing, I will operate it as if it were, with opening statements from our witnesses and 4 minutes of questions from our members. Members, there is a timer here in the center of the screen. I hope you can see it. We will try to make sure you can. I have also been asked to make you aware of the expectations for decorum in this committee room. We ask that everyone here today be seated when they are in the hearing room. We ask that you refrain from standing or sitting in the walkways or aisles. If you need further accommodation, please communicate with staff. Please leave all signs outside under this building's rules. Signs are not permitted in the hearing room or at the witness table. Clapping and other disruptions are not allowed. Thank you to the Minnesota Senate Sergeant at Arms Office, U.S. Capitol Police, and the Minnesota State Patrol Capitol security personnel who are present to help us maintain this decorum in the hearing room. I now recognize myself for 4 minutes for an opening statement. As the ranking member of the Immigration Subcommittee of the House Judiciary Committee, I've been holding a series of accountability hearings titled Kidnapped and Disappeared on how the Trump administration has targeted and terrorized people of all immigration statuses, including U.S. citizens, violating constitutional rights and court orders, destroying our existing immigration system, and eroding all of our rights. Today is the 6th hearing in that series as we continue our congressional duties on this fact-finding mission at a time of intense trauma and terror for Minnesotans who are being subjected to the lawlessness and violence of ICE and Border Patrol agents. The Minnesota Star Tribune editorial board described it this way, quote, "Battalions of armed federal agents are moving through neighborhoods, transit hubs, malls, and parking lots, and staging near churches, mosques, and schools. Strangers with guns have metastasized in spaces where daily life should be routine and safe. It feels like a military occupation. The occupation of Minnesota by ICE cannot stand. What we are witnessing is the storming of the state by the federal government, end quote. Since December, Donald Trump has surged federal agents to the Twin Cities under the guise of immigration enforcement. Thousands of ICE and Border Patrol agents have put the safety of residents in jeopardy, with escalating arrests and violations of fundamental constitutional rights that protect individuals from unreasonable seizures and searches without a warrant and protect due process for everyone, citizen and non-citizen, without distinction. We are seeing horrifying videos of ICE agents battering down people's doors without a warrant, racially profiling people on the street, busting in car windows and trying to intimidate and suppress the First Amendment rights to peacefully protest. And most visible and clear to the entire nation, the killing of Renee Good, the outright lies from Kristi Noem, Donald Trump, and J.D. Vance about what we saw with our own eyes, and the subsequent attempt to assassinate the character of Renee Good and her widow, all while blocking any fair, independent investigation of the ICE officer who shot her. Instead of making us safer, Trump is deliberately escalating tensions in a city where crime rates have been declining, and the tactics are only accelerating. Renee Good's killing was the 9th reported ICE shooting since September. Meanwhile, in the single year since Donald Trump entered office, 35 people have been reported by ICE to have died in ICE detention facilities. That is the highest number in 2 decades. Let me be clear. This pattern of reckless, even lethal use of force cannot continue, and we will do everything in our power to hold the administration accountable and stop this lawlessness. Let me also be clear about something else. What is happening in Minnesota is a pattern that is dangerous to every single person in America. Because if they can erode the rights of some, they can do it to you. No one is safe. As one of only 24 naturalized citizens to serve in Congress today, someone who spent 17 years in the process to get my U.S. citizenship, this is very personal to me. Never in a million years would I have thought that I would see what I see on the streets of the United States of America. We cannot have a second tier of citizenship. We cannot undermine the contributions of immigrants from all over the world, and we must protect our democracy and our Constitution for all residents and our future generations.